Yes, indeed. It is Ringside Report MMA, and tonight on the show we're previewing UFC in Abu Dhabi. Big fights this weekend. Let's go.
Let's go!
Yes. Exactly. Let's go. I am here, and that's it. It's just me, again. Can you believe this? I can't quite believe it myself. I've got no Freddie and no AJ again with me on a Thursday night. They have assured me that they'll be back next Thursday, but they're still on vacation, so they say. I don't know what that means. But I've got no Freddie and no AJ with me tonight, which means the show is all about me and it's all about you. So tell me what you want to talk about. Let me know in the chat, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I got nothing big on the agenda. What? Give me a sec. I'm even leaving the show. Hang on. Where am I going? Wait a second. Oh, wait a second. Okay, hold on. I'm back. There was actually a cat trapped in the room, so I had to let the cat out of the room. There was a cat in the room, wanted out. So what do? I get up and I let the animal out. I stop the show because I'm a good guy. I'm a man for the animals. I'm a man for the people. You got to respect a man for the animals. AJ says he's going to be listening by the water. Yeah, good for him. Good for you, AJ. AJ's in the chat. Johnny North in the chat. Leor in the chat. Leor says get Johnny on the show. Johnny can't even do the show tonight, I don't think. Unless you want to jump on, John. I don't think you're available. I think you're busy too, right? You're just watching. You could watch, but you can't actually be on. Big Cheese Bob Burgers in the chat. Leor says Dave deserves an extended vacation. I don't disagree with you, considering how hard I've been working at everything going on constantly these days. It's been a lot. We've got a big weekend again coming up. We've got Wrestling Uncensored tomorrow night where Johnny North will join me, and then I think I'll be rolling solo again on Saturday night after SummerSlam. We're on after SummerSlam because SummerSlam is this Saturday. Not only is UFC in Abu Dhabi, I believe this Saturday afternoon. I'll get the exact start time for you here in a minute. But not only do we have the UFC with some tremendous fights, Cory Sandhagen, Umar Nurmagomedov, the undefeated cousin of Khabib, who fights at 135 pounds with a win here, should secure himself a title shot against the winner of Merab Dvalishvili and, of course, the champion Sean O'Malley. UFC on ABC. Main card starts at 3 p.m. on ABC in Abu Dhabi. So it'll be on free TV. Basically, if you have a TV, you'll be able to watch this show 3 p.m. Eastern Time coming up Saturday afternoon, and then that'll just ease us into SummerSlam at night. It'll be a big day on Saturday for us here at the Ringside Report Network. We'll be very busy watching UFC in Abu Dhabi. Quite frankly, it's a very good card. There's a lot of good fights on this from the first prelim to the main event. This is a stacked card. When the UFC goes to Abu Dhabi, it's not some ordinary fight night. It may be a fight night and not a pay-per-view, but this is a big deal fight night. Main card has Umar Nurmagomedov 17-0 taking on 17-4 Cory Sandhagen. Winner of this gets a title shot. It's a 5-round main event at bantamweight. Shara Bullet Magomedov, the one-eyed monster, 13-0 takes on Michael Oleksiejczuk, 19-8. Big fight for Shara Bullet. Big fight here in the middleweight division to see how far Shara Bullet, the undefeated man from Dagestan, another Dagestani, showing up and crushing it. 30 years old, undefeated, 2-0 so far in the UFC, and his wins have been impressive, including a TKO win over Anthony Trocoli back in June of this year. Man, Shara Bullet is ready for a quick turnaround. Shara Bullet fought in June, and he's back in action here in Abu Dhabi. This guy, he's a serious prospect. That's the co-main event. Marlon Chito Vera takes on Davison Figueiredo. Chito Vera, former title challenger at 135. Davison Figueiredo, former champion at 125. This one at 135. Big fight at bantamweight. Tony El Kukui Ferguson, legend of the game, taking on Michael Chiesa. Mackenzie Dern, one of AJ's favorites, takes on Lupi Godinez. I mean, this is a very solid main card. This is as good as any UFC pay-per-view. This is very good. We've got some great, great fights coming up on Saturday. And, you know, SummerSlam looks pretty good, too. I don't know how many of you are also pro wrestling fans, but that night, you know, jump on board to the Ringside Report Network for our SummerSlam post-show and maybe even tune into SummerSlam. You'll see Logan Paul against LA Knight. You'll see Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. You'll see CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa. Bayley versus Nia Jax. Damian Priest versus Gunther. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. Big, big, big show for the WWE coming up on Saturday in Cleveland, Ohio. So that's a big show. Big shows for the UFC and WWE on Saturday. I'm going to be watching the TV, I think, a lot of the day, which is unfortunate. I'd like to be outside and maybe not watching TV all day. I don't know if I'll catch all the UFC thing. Maybe I'll record it. I'm going to be watching SummerSlam at night. That's for certain, but these fights are very good. We've got some very good fights, and we got picks and a preview for you here on Ringside Report MMA. Johnny wants to see me eating chicken on Saturday for some reason. I'm not sure why. AJ's in a silk bathrobe. I don't really want to know why there either. I don't want to think about it. I don't know why that's in the chat, AJ. That's obscene stuff. You should be barred from the chat just for mentioning yourself in a silk bathrobe. It's disgusting. Everybody's watching SummerSlam. Lior even forgot about SummerSlam coming up on Saturday. A big one. A big show from the WWE. What else do we have going on? Nick Diaz was supposed to fight on this card on Saturday. Nick Diaz, who's still under UFC contract, who hasn't fought since, what was that fight with Robbie Lawler that didn't go Nick's way? Nick is 40. Nick is a legend. He hasn't fought since 2021 in September. This was going to be 3 years later. And Nick was supposed to fight Vicente Luque on this card. And the word was there was a travel issue, so Nick couldn't make the fight. Or Vicente couldn't make the fight. It wasn't really clear. All that we heard, the only word going out was the fight is canceled because of a travel issue. They didn't say with who or why or anything. Travel issue. Dana White was asked about it at the press conference after UFC 304, and he said, I don't know what happened with Nick Diaz. And then he was asked, what's happening? Am I moving? Should I move? Somebody want me to move? What's happening? Then at the, Dana said, you know, he continued and said, you know, he was asked, do you expect him to fight this year? And Dana was just like, no, probably not. And that was it. There was no real follow-up or anything. It's hard to press Dana White because he'll just kind of shut you down and try to make you feel stupid for even asking the question. But like Dana did, I might want to play some Dana White audio from the press conference. It was kind of wild. So much of what Dana said was just off the chain this Saturday. I'd like to play some Dana and then kind of translate what Dana is really saying. Because Dana just, he went off about a number of things. And he didn't make it seem like Nick Diaz would be fighting at all this year. And there was some sort of issue again with Nick Diaz. And we're just not going to see Nick Diaz. Which sucks. Because I like Nick Diaz. And as long as he's still under contract with the UFC, we're not going to see him anywhere else. So Dana didn't seem optimistic about Nick Diaz. Maybe we'll never see him fight again. Dana also not very optimistic about Conor McGregor, saying, I don't know about Conor. Well, I'm not talking about it. You know, whenever he's ready, and that'll be that. Whenever he's ready. What does that mean? I thought he had like a broken foot or something, broken toe. It only takes a certain amount of time to heal. Why was the fight on the table being promoted with Michael Chandler, pay-per-view, press conferences, everything, then the injury, and now I don't know if Conor will ever fight? Was it just an injury with Conor, or was there something else going on? If you remember, Chael Sonnen said it was rehab for Conor. But Conor was like, no, I'm hurt. Look, x-rays and everything. Conor, like, pushed back hard on that rehab thing, so maybe it's not rehab. But what's going on then? Because it seemed like they were promoting this fight. And now, not. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. Hopefully we get Conor McGregor in the octagon at some point. I know Michael Chandler was saying, December, how about December? I think he's looking at the dates that the UFC is kind of counting down, and he's like, I'm running out of time here. Because Dana's already saying, John Jones probably in November. We already know that October they're probably going to, either Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia or something for a pay-per-view, right? They have a big one. They've got their pay-per-view lined up for September already. Like, the dates in 2024 are running out. UFC 305 coming up August 17th. That's the next big one. Dricus and Adesanya in Australia. UFC 306, September 14th. That's at the Sphere in Vegas. September 14th, that's Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili, right? So we know the main events up until September at least. UFC 307 is supposed to be in Salt Lake City, Utah, October 5th, where Raquel Pennington will take on Juliana Pena in the main event, or maybe just one of the main fights. I don't know if the main event is fully settled there, but that's one of the big fights that they have for that one, the Women's Bantamweight Championship, Pennington and Pena, UFC 307 in October. So you're seeing already, you're running out of dates. So if you're Michael Chandler, you go, Dana's saying John Jones in November at Madison Square Garden, so that means probably not me and Conor. Maybe me and Conor can get December in Vegas? Fingers crossed? Because if not, you're looking at 2025, and then, who knows. But October 26th is UFC 308. That's in Abu Dhabi, so that's already settled. Ilia Topuria, Max Holloway, Featherweight Championship on the line in that one. Is that official? Or just expected? I think that's just expected. Also, Cyril Gane against Alexander Volkov. Ooh, it's not bad. Nice comeback fight for Cyril. I like how everybody's talking about Tom Aspinall, saying, like, I've never seen a heavyweight move like that. Who moves like that? And a year or two ago, they were saying the exact same thing about Cyril Gane. We don't see Cyril Gane fight for like a year, right? He hasn't fought since last September, and everybody's forgetting about Cyril Gane. I'd like to see Cyril Gane go up against Tom Aspinall. I think that would be a hell of a fight at heavyweight. Everybody's saying Aspinall needs to fight Jones and needs to... how about clearing out the heavyweight division first? How about fighting Cyril Gane? Aspinall never fought Cyril Gane. The only guys that have defeated Cyril Gane in the UFC are John Jones and Francis Ngannou. Everybody else has gone down to the Gane man. France versus England, it's a classic matchup. Cyril from France, Aspinall from England, do it in Germany or something. England, France, who cares? Do it in Paris, do it in London. I think it would sell out an arena in either city. Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight fight. Tom Aspinall should be looking at Cyril more than John Jones. I know that the money fight is with John Jones, but Let's chill. Jon Jones has been fighting forever, has been on top forever. And it kind of seems like he might retire after his next fight. He may keep fighting. He may give Tom Aspinall a shot at the king. He may. But he may also retire. And that's his right. And if anybody says that Jon Jones is retiring because he's scared of Tom Aspinall, you don't really understand mixed martial arts. You don't really understand how good Jon Jones is and how long and how dominant he's been and why he really has no reason to fear any man on this planet. Everybody's got a weakness, and Jon Jones can see those weaknesses a mile away. He's kind of scary. Jon Jones doesn't need to fight Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall needs to fight Jon Jones. If you look at the A side and the B side, your B side has to come close to your level. It has to come close to your value. Your opponent has to come close to the number of fans that you have. Now, he's looking at Stipe, and he's saying, well, Stipe's a legend. Stipe has defended the title more than anybody. If you want to be top heavyweight, beating Stipe looks good on the resume. Historically, when you look back, no one's going to really remember that Stipe hadn't fought in a bunch of years and really wasn't the same. All they're going to remember is you beat DC and you beat Stipe. You beat them both. And I think there may be something about that, too, because DC and Stipe had that rivalry, and Jones has that thing with DC, and I think Jones might just want to beat Stipe once and for all and show DC, like, no problem, you know? I think there may be an element of that, but also I think he respects Stipe, and Stipe is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, and he's a big star. The longer he stays away from the cage, though, I think the less of a star he becomes, and maybe Tom Aspinall becomes a more profitable fight. Riskier, but maybe more profitable? Maybe, but that's a big maybe. And you got to take a gamble on that. Because you don't know what the pay-per-view is going to sell until after the fight. So you're going into the fight thinking, if it's the same money, why would I fight Aspinall? Why would I give him a shot at the champ? He's a tougher fight. Stipe is a legend. Give Stipe a shot at beating me. I'm Jon Jones. You know, give Stipe a shot. So I think the Stipe fight makes sense. They're both legends. It's the fight they were promised. You do that fight. After that, Jon Jones really doesn't owe anybody anything. He doesn't need to fight. He's done it all. He's made all the money. There's no need for him to keep fighting. So I think a lot of people are dreaming about a Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones fight, but I don't know. Dana White seemed pretty excited about it at the press conference. He was saying, you know, this is a pretty big fight, and if Stipe and Jones both retire, that would suck, but, you know, it's possible. But the winner of Stipe and Jones against the winner of Aspinall would be a pretty big fight. And that's kind of what Dana is looking for. Because Jon Jones, by the way, is also the heavyweight champion of the UFC. Tom Aspinall is the interim heavyweight champion. It would make sense for the winner of Stipe Jones, which will probably be Jon Jones. I mean, come on. It would make sense for Jon Jones as heavyweight champion to unify the belts against Tom Aspinall. But I don't think there's any guarantee that Jon Jones actually sticks around to do that. So I think you might have to start looking at other options for Tom Aspinall, but all of this is kind of in the future and in November, and we'll see when we get there. But Cyril Gane fighting... Who is he fighting again? Volkov in October? I could line up. I could line up pretty good for Aspinall sometime early 2025, maybe March, April type of thing. I could see that fight going down for the belt if Jones steps away. I mean, if Jones stays around and wants to fight Tom Aspinall, that would be fun. Why not? I think Jones probably beats him, but that's a probably. Tom Aspinall is good. He's big. He's strong. He's powerful. I think he could put anybody's lights out, including Jon Jones. I think with the right shot, Aspinall could put anybody's lights out. He's very, very talented. I was very impressed with Aspinall, how quickly he put Blades away. Just easily, effortlessly. He was so far ahead of Curtis Blades in that fight. It was nasty. Tom Aspinall is very good. He's ahead of the game. Has he caught up to Jon Jones? That's tough. That's tough. I think striking, he's a problem. But on the ground, now I know he's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu and he's a good jiu-jitsu player. I understand that. But when you're on your back in MMA, if you're not hitting the submissions, you're losing the rounds. And Jon Jones has the wrestling ability to take Aspinall down, slice him with elbows from the guard. He doesn't really have to pass his guard. He could pass to half, sit on a leg, and rain down the violence. He could do that. And that'll be a matter of Tom Aspinall's ground game and how sharp he is against what Jones is going to bring. And Jones is going to bring some incredible jiu-jitsu, incredible top pressure, incredible wrestling. This is a guy who rolls with Gordon Ryan. He's not... It's not like Aspinall's jiu-jitsu is going to shock Jon Jones in any way. I think Jones will be ready for whatever attacks Aspinall would throw at him, and I think he'd be a good enough wrestler to counter, to hold position, to advance position, and to land strikes from the top, to stay on top primarily, and to land big strikes. I think the ground and pound would be a real issue for Tom Aspinall. Being put on his back would be a real issue. Being put up against the fence would be a real issue. Like, all of that stuff, Jon Jones is going to dominate. And Aspinall is quick, but can he find Jon Jones? You could be fast and quick and have great footwork, but if you can't get in his range, because Jon Jones is so good at controlling the distance, at keeping you out of range, and making you miss. Jon Jones is so good that it's such a tough fight for anybody. He's so well-rounded. He's been so far ahead of the pack for so long. But at a certain point, you break. He's a human being. At a certain point, he's going to break. You can't keep going on like this as an MMA fighter for over a decade. It's unprecedented. He'll go down as the greatest of all time if he retired today without fighting Stipe. What he's done is ridiculous. The run he's been on it'll never be duplicated. The greatest run of any MMA fighter ever. But at a certain point, you go, okay, you're 36, 37? Well, how old are you? How old is this guy now? He's getting up there. Once you hit 35, I know at heavyweight there's a longer career span, but he's 37. And he's been fighting in the UFC since 2008. It's a long time. So I think he's the greatest of all time, but I know that everybody has a time limit. Everybody has a point where they're just not able to go with the younger guys who are fresher in the game, who have less miles on their body. So I think John Jones, peak John Jones beats Tom Aspinall, but how long can he stay at his peak? Because the fact that he's been a world champion since, 2011? Come on. No one does that. So I think Jones would win. I think Jones would win any fight. But there's a time limit on everybody. So if Aspinall is the guy who happens to be in the right place at the right time in the cage against John Jones, so be it. I mean, that's the life of a fighter. That's the game. It's all in the game. I'm seeing stuff in the chat. Big Cheese Bob Burgers agrees with AJ. Surprise, surprise. Johnny North says, how long are you waiting for a second Jones fight? 2026. Yeah, that's it. I think he fights in November of this year, and then who knows? Maybe 2025 he'll fight again against Aspinall. Maybe. Dana didn't seem too excited about Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight. He seemed to think that was a bad idea. So if you're hoping for the light heavyweight champ Pereira to move up to heavyweight and maybe fight Aspinall or Jones, keep dreaming, because that's not happening. Dana wants him to stay at light heavyweight. I don't know. But there are options for Tom Aspinall outside of John Jones. Options like Cyril Gant. There are options. We don't see a ton of WWE shows from Vancouver. It's not traditionally a big wrestling town. Calgary, Edmonton even, Montreal, Toronto. Vancouver's not really in that pack. What big wrestling show has Vancouver ever hosted? At first I was surprised. Now I'm a little upset. What the hell is Survivor Series doing going to Vancouver? Are they just trying to tap into a new market? That has never been a good wrestling town. They never go to Vancouver. What's that? I'm not going to Vancouver for Survivor Series. Forget all that. And no, I'm not going to talk about that Olympic boxing thing. I saw what it was. I saw what was going on. And I think people have it wrong. But I don't want to get into it. It's complicated. It's a complicated issue. Shout out to Antoinette, who gifted Librio a membership. Thank you, Antoinette. What's up, Antoinette? There she is. Air Canada giving free booze till December. Oh, I guess when you are on the plane, you get free alcohol? My goodness. You're wrong, cheater. I don't know what AJ's saying. He used the wrong your, which I'm not surprised by. I don't know who he's talking about. Probably me. He's always mad at me for something. I'm wrong. Right, I'm wrong. AJ, I sent you a thing in our chat, in our group chat, that explained to you the actual situation of what was going on, but maybe your reading comprehension wasn't working. I don't know. Did you not read the thing of what was actually happening? Johnny North sent it to me, and then I sent it to you. And then I sent Johnny North your comment in our chat. I showed it to Johnny. I screenshotted your comment, and I sent it to Johnny, AJ. How about that? And Johnny was not very impressed. He said, those comments should not be on the show. How about that, AJ? I can't really talk about what's going on, but let's just say Johnny's on one side, AJ's on the other, and they're both sending me messages, and I'm like, man, you guys should just fight it out. AJ, you are full of crapola, my friend. You are full of crapola. Crapola. Fucking AJ. Full of crapola. Jeez. Hey, happy birthday, Antoinette. I didn't know it was your birthday. Good for you. Having a good time. Happy birthday. AJ is full of crapola. AJ's scared to come roll with me and Fred tomorrow morning. AJ is pure crapola. Pure crapola. All right. Oh, it's not your birthday? I thought that was a great birthday present. What's a birthday? I don't understand. All right, it's not her birthday. I thought it was her birthday. She said that is a great birthday present for me. I don't know what she meant by that. Okay. Survivor Series in November? November is her birthday, I guess. I don't know. I'm lost on the whole birthday goddamn kerfuffle, so we're going to move on to the main part of this event here. We've got UFC in Abu Dhabi coming up on Saturday afternoon. Cory Sandhagen taking on the undefeated Umar Nurmagomedov. Sandhagen, 32 years old, coming off 3 straight victories, wins over Song Yadong, Marlon Vera, and Rob Font. Sandhagen, though, has not fought since August of last year, a full year away for Cory Sandhagen out of Colorado. Umar Nurmagomedov out of Dagestan, Russia, 28 years old, undefeated, 17-0, coming off a win in March over Beksat Almakan. And it was not a very impressive win for Umar. So we'll see how he bounces back from that one. A lot of hype around Umar. Could Cory Sandhagen derail that hype? You know? Maybe. If this fight were in the United States and not in Abu Dhabi, I think I would give Sandhagen a better shot. But in Abu Dhabi, something about these Dagestan guys, they're treated so well. I don't know, they win a lot there. They like fighting there. They train there a lot. I feel like it's kind of a second home, and it's kind of a home field advantage for them. So I like those Dagestan guys in Abu Dhabi. Right now, Umar Nurmagomedov is the favorite, of course. He is minus 320. Sandhagen plus 250. I don't like that number at all. I wouldn't bet on Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm not going to put him in my parlay. I think he probably wins, but Sandhagen is no joke. You know how Leon Edwards was supposed to win in his hometown and everything on Saturday? That didn't happen. Cory Sandhagen could spoil the party here. Cory Sandhagen is very good. He's got good wrestling. He's a good all-around fighter, and he seems to be steadily improving, too. Like, he's coming into his prime now at 31, 32, and he's really looking sharper than ever in his past couple of fights. But Umar is Umar. It's an interesting main event. It's a real test for Umar Nurmagomedov because Umar has not really faced the top of the top. The wins in the UFC are over Sergey Morozov, Brian Kelleher, Nate Maness, Raoni Barcelos, like not big names in the bantamweight division. This is the first guy that's super legit. Cory Sandhagen fought for a world title in the UFC. He's one of the top fighters at 135 pounds. There's a reason why the winner of this fight probably gets a title shot. I think I'm talking myself into picking Sandhagen right now. But something about Abu Dhabi. I would go with Umar, but I'm staying away from that fight. I'm not betting on that fight. I am betting on a few other fights on this card. I do think that there's value in a lot of fights on this card. Not the main event, though. From a betting perspective, I'm not touching it. From a fight fan perspective, I'm very excited to see. Like, can Umar shut down Sandhagen? Sandhagen has some very electric striking, some flying knees, some nice kicks, very good boxing. He's got good wrestling. He's got good jiu-jitsu. Like, he's very well-rounded. Umar is a Nurmagomedov. He's going to fight, balls to the wall, straightforward. He's got decent striking. He's got excellent wrestling, obviously. And he's just relentless. They all come straight forward. They have a distinct style, and they're steadily improving in the striking game. That whole team Khabib, like all their striking, you're seeing Islam Makhachev really, take leaps and bounds in his striking game. It's not just wrestling anymore from these guys. They're doing everything. Umar striking hasn't really caught up to some of the other guys on his team. But he's only 28. So the guy you saw in March has been training nonstop every day, and he's only better since we last saw him. I think the safe pick is Umar. He's a big favorite for a reason, but Sandhagen could just straight up knock him out. It could happen. I think he'll have a tough time winning a decision. Unless it's just so obvious that, but a close decision I think probably goes Umar's way. But, yeah, this is not a slam dunk fight for Umar. This is a tough one. So from a fan's perspective, I love to see it because can Umar pass this test? If he can, he probably fights the winner of Merab and Sean O'Malley, which is another massive fight. I don't know where that one's going to go. I'm leaning towards Merab, but you can't count out Sean O'Malley. People keep doubting him and everything. Ugh, you can't count him out. So that's a really great fight. This is a really great fight in the main event. This is fantastic at 135 pounds. This is a legit title eliminator. The winner of this fight should fight for the belt. And I don't know who they're going to fight for the belt. It's either going to be Merab or O'Malley. That's going to be a crazy fight, too. UFC's got some good fights coming up. Some very good fights. Adesanya and Dricus on the next pay-per-view? That's like, what is that, 3 weeks away? It's 2 weeks away. We're 2 weeks away from that. That's crazy. We're 2 weeks away from Israel and Dricus. We're in the first week of August here. It's the 17th. Damn. So it's not next week. It's the week after. We got UFC 305 in Perth. Middleweight title on the line. Yo, that's a fight. I'm excited about that. Dricus and Adesanya, damn. How about Davison Figueiredo, Marlon Vera? They're fighting on Saturday afternoon in Abu Dhabi. Davison Figueiredo right now, minus 140, the favorite. Chito Vera, plus 120, the dog. This is a 3-round fight, co-main event. I'm going with Chito. I don't think Figueiredo is really that proven at 135. I mean, he submitted Cody Garbrandt in his last fight, but Cody Garbrandt isn't quite where he used to be. He's struggled in the past few years. He's 36 years old, is Figueiredo, former 125er. This is his toughest challenge at 135 against a former title challenger who, took Sean O'Malley to the distance in a tough 5-round fight. Marlon Vera is no joke. And his last fight was that title fight back in March. This is his comeback fight from that. He's going to be highly motivated. He's got, a decent name in front of him. I like Chito in this one. I think Chito Vera keeps this fight standing and wins. Either by knockout or a decision, but I think Chito wins. I think Davison's going to want to take him down. I don't think that's going to work. I think Chito's going to be a little too big and a little too strong for Davison Figueiredo in this fight. And he's going to be able to beat him standing. I think Davison's path to victory is probably taking him down and looking for a submission, but I think Vera's going to be wise to that. He's going to be ready. Marlon Vera, don't forget, he's only 31 years old. He's 5 years younger than Davison Figueiredo. It kind of feels like maybe he's older than him because he's been in the bantamweight division longer, and it feels like been in the UFC longer, but he's only 31, Chito. And Chito Vera coming in right now, plus 120, the underdog. Figueiredo minus 140. I'm going with the dog and Chito Vera. I like that one. I don't like Tony Ferguson against Michael Chiesa. I think Chiesa probably beats him. Chiesa was on a bit of a run beating guys like Tony Ferguson, and then the UFC decided to step him up in competition, and it didn't quite work, and now he's back to fighting guys like Tony Ferguson. Chiesa beat Carlos Condit, Diego Sanchez, Rafael Dos Anjos, and Neil Magny, and then lost to Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, and Kevin Holland. Like, they kind of stepped him up, and it didn't quite work. And that last fight against Kevin Holland was back in 2023, last July. Now, Chiesa hadn't fought for a couple years. He came back, fought last July, got submitted in the first round, didn't look great. Tony Ferguson has not looked great in many years. He's 40 years old. But he did take Paddy the Baddy all 3 rounds in his last fight, and Paddy the Baddy looked pretty great against King Green on Saturday. But then Ferguson lost to King Green, so I don't know. It's hard to bet on Tony Ferguson at this point. He says he's changed up a lot for this camp. He's done a lot more sparring. It's different this time, but I feel like I've heard the same story from Tony Ferguson over and over again. He's 40 years old. He has lost 7 in a row. He hasn't won since 2019. Come on. He's a massive underdog for a reason. Plus 450, Chiesa minus 550, the favorite. But it's not like Chiesa is crushing everybody. It's not like Chiesa is a young up-and-comer like Paddy the Baddy. Like, Chiesa's kind of at the same point in his career where he's near the end. He's not fighting that often. He's halfway an analyst for the UFC, you know, like, I don't know. I think Ferguson should lose because it seems like Ferguson can't win anymore. But even this number is not great. Minus 550 for Chiesa. Like, Chiesa shouldn't be that big of a favorite in any fight at this point. Even, like, against AJ, you know? It's like, I don't know. Puncher's chance. I mean, I guess maybe against AJ. Speaking of AJ, let's piss him off. Lupi Godinez, plus 100, taking on Mackenzie Dern. There's another underdog we're going with. Lupi Godinez to beat Mackenzie Dern. Take that, AJ. Your favorite's going down. Lupi's going to beat her. She's going to stay on her feet. She's going to piece her up boxing. And that'll be that. Lupi Godinez has never been finished. She's lost a few fights by decision, but when those takedowns don't work for Mackenzie Dern, what's going to happen? She's going to fall back on that striking of hers, which has not looked good. And you strike like that against Lupi Godinez, you're going to get beat up. I've got Lupi by decision. Probably not a knockout, but I'm going to go with Lupi by decision. Lupi wins, plus 100. Cash it. It's happening, AJ. Deal with it. Mackenzie Dern, minus 120, the favorite. I don't think so, Mackenzie Dern. I think you are losing. And who else do we have? I saw Lior. He's talking about somebody. Azamat is on this card, his favorite name. Who's Azamat? Which Azamat? Azamat Murzakanov taking on Alonzo Menefield at light heavyweight. That's a good fight. Murzakanov, 13-0. Looking dangerous, looking deadly. Murzakanov, I believe, a big favorite in that fight. Let me get the number on that one. Azamat! I like Sharabulit. Sharabulit Magomedov, minus 250 over Michael Oleksiejczuk. I'm going with the bullet. Sharabulit Mazamat Murzakanov, minus 210 over Alonzo Menefield. I like that. I think Azamat takes that one. Dontel Mays takes on Shamil Gaziev. Interesting fight there. I could see Dontel picking it up. Dontel. Let me give you the Team Dave parlay here for UFC Abu Dhabi. It'll be a fun parlay too. This is not bad. I'm looking at what I got for you so far. and I'm enjoying it. I've got 2 fights on it so far, and I'm going to throw another one on it. There you go. It's a 3-fight parlay in Abu Dhabi for Team Dave. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Look at this. Look at it. You almost saw it. You're going to see it. There it is. That's my parlay. It's a 3-fight parlay. We're going with Sharabulit. Sharabulit. Minus 250. Chito Vera, plus 120 over Figueiredo. And Lupi Godinez, plus 100 over Mackenzie Dern. 20 gets you 120-320 over at bet99.com. Go to bet99.ringsidereport.net. Bet with us over at bet99.com. How about it? That's a nice parlay for your Saturday afternoon, settling in for an evening of SummerSlam. Sharabulit, Marlon Chito, and the Lupi. We got fun nicknames, too. Bullet, Sharabulit, Chito, Lupi. How could you refuse? Who are you to refuse? 3-fight parlay for Team Dave coming up this Saturday afternoon in Abu Dhabi. 3 p.m. main card. Prelims start at noon on ESPN and I guess on UFC Fight Pass here in Canada. And that's all I got for you. All right, I'll be back tomorrow night with Johnny North. Of course, the Yankees keep winning. I could talk about that. We could just talk about that all night. But I thought I should mention that the Yankees keep winning. The Yankees are the best. The Yankees will win the World Series. And everybody's just got to have to deal with it. Because the Yankees just swept the Philadelphia Phillies in Philadelphia. It was a magical 3 games where Jazz Chisholm Jr. came over from the Florida Marlins, became a new Yankee, and hit 4 home runs in 2 games. And helped the Yankees beat the Phillies and sweep them. 3 games in Philadelphia. The Phillies, by the way, who had the best record in all of baseball until the Yankees rolled into town. Phillies with a 65-43 record. 65 wins, still the most of any team in the major leagues. Yankees are 65-45. Orioles half game up on the Yankees, 65-44. Johnny North's Boston Red Sox way behind, 57-50. What happened, Johnny? Oh, did the Yankees take 2 out of 3 from Boston and then roll into town in Philadelphia and take 3 straight? Have the Yankees won 5 in a row? Is that what I am to understand? Because that's what's happening. Go Yankees. They're looking so damn good over the past week. It has made me forget all my troubles about how bad they looked before the All-Star break. They've come back from the All-Star break pretty good. Pretty good. They're looking sharp. They're looking like they may take first place from the Orioles, but the Orioles keep playing well. But the Yankees have won a lot of games lately, and it's pretty nice. 5 in a row. Tomorrow night, they'll make it 6 when they beat the Blue Jays of Toronto. Because the Blue Jays are coming to the Bronx, and they're about to get smacked around for 3 straight games, which will be nice. Always nice beating up on the Blue Jays, who absolutely suck. You know what else is nice? The Yankees are going to finish tonight in first place in the AL East because the Baltimore Orioles are down 10-3 to the Cleveland Guardians in the 8th inning. So when the Orioles lose, they'll drop that half game, and the Yankees will be tied for first place in the AL East with the Baltimore Orioles by the end of the night. They don't even have to play, and they're in first place. Yankees 65-45. Orioles right now 65-44, but they're about to lose their 45th game. And we got a dead heat in August. Baseball season is warming up. It's almost October when postseason baseball takes over the Bronx and the world. Oh, my God. All right, I'm getting too excited about this. We got to wrap up. I'll be here tomorrow Bob Burger says Diamondbacks. They basically suck, Bob's Burgers. They're 58-51. You should be ashamed of that team. That's a third-place team in the AL West with no chance in hell of catching the LA Dodgers. So they're not really good. Maybe they're in a chase for a wild card, but the D-backs are not strong this year, Bob Burgers. They kind of suck. Compared to the Yankees, they suck. They're only 7 games over 500. That sucks. Get it together. Sorry, but the D-backs, come on. Don't even bring no... you got no shot at touching the Dodgers. No shot. Are you really a D-backs fan, or are you just pretending you're from Arizona? I don't know. I doubt it. Have you been to a D-backs game? What's special about the D-backs park? You know what I mean? I don't know. What is a Diamondback? Do you even know? What's a Diamondback, Bob Burgers? If you're from Arizona, you would know, right? Quick. What's a Diamondback? I know AJ don't know. That's something I know he would not know. But somebody from Arizona would definitely know what a Diamondback is. Why they named the team a Diamondback? No? No? Nobody? Yeah, I know I'm right, Bob Burgers. Fake name, no real picture. I'm still suspicious of you, but I'll take your word you're from Arizona. Are you furiously Googling right now what a Diamondback is? I could just tell you, or I could just leave you in suspense, and you could all figure it out for yourselves. Jake Roberts would know, but AJ wouldn't get that reference either. You know Jake Roberts? Yeah. Remember when Macho Man, him and Jake Roberts, they did the thing, Did you know they were the Coyotes? Bet you did not. Who were the Coyotes? What are you talking about? See, Bob Burgers is like changing the subject. They were the Coyotes. All right. Well, I don't think you're really from Arizona. Diamondbacks are snakes. Also, diamond, for baseball. Diamondbacks, snakes. Anyways. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you again real soon. Actually, tomorrow night for Wrestling Uncensored. Shout out to Antoinette and Angelo Contagonis and Leor and all the members over at join.ringsidereport.net. But especially Antoinette and Leor and Angelo. And Jay Glasnovic. I see you, Jay. There's Jay. I didn't see Jay. MB. I don't know. Jay's one comment was MB. I don't even know what that's referring to. All right. Well, originally from Minnesota. Okay. Sure. I'll talk to you again tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time, to preview WWE SummerSlam right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net.